Hello, I'm going to speak about Scilab and to explain to everybody what Scilab is today, what is the organization around Scilab, and to show you the functionality of Scilab software. So, Scilab is free software, but it's very interesting to know what is the organization in charge of Scilab software and in charge of the future of Scilab. Scilab is very long history. I'm not going to tell you all the stories since the 80s, but what you should know is that it has been developed for years by INRIA, the French Research Institute for Computer Science and Control, and then, since 2010, it's developed and published in an exclusive way by a new company, legacy of Scilab at INRIA, which is called Scilab Enterprises. And so, these enterprises develop and publish Scilab, which is free software. And in the same time, in order to be able to continue, Scilab Enterprises deliver services and sell products around Scilab software. And what we plan to do is that with all the service and the product, the funding is used to make and distribute Scilab for free for everybody in the world. Are you alone in the world using Scilab? I don't think so, because now we have about 100,000 downloads from Scilab website from 150 countries in the world. So it's a very great success for this free software in the download in other countries in the world. Scilab is used by many people in industry, people in research, people in education, and so we've created just this year a structure called the International Partnership Committee. The purpose of this structure is to be an international user group for Scilab and to have a role of manage and promote Scilab and Scilab users in the world, and to make proposals and for roadmap and external modules and exchange everything you want to exchange around Scilab. This is the International Partnership Committee, and with that, just now, we are creating regional groups, who are groups coming from other countries in the world, that can be countries or continents, something like that, and everybody can ask for the creation of a regional group. So you can, in your country, ask for this kind of creation. Well, this is the organization. Now, I'm going back to the software, which is, I think, the software you are interested most. When you get Scilab, what we call Scilab distribution, is what you get on the internet when you download Scilab. You have Scilab, which is the super calculator with graphics. You have XCOS, which is made for modeling and simulating dynamic system. And you have Atoms, which is for external module. We will see later the way it works. It's a very powerful tool in order for adding functionalities to Scilab. Scilab has nearly all the function, the basis function for applied mathematics, from mathematical function, matrix computation, simulation, optimization, approximation, interpolation, signal processing, statistics. When you get Scilab, when you download Scilab, you have all these kind of functionalities for free in the software. More than that, included in the Scilab distribution, you also have XCOS. It's for modeling and simulation of dynamical system by using block diagrams. It's made for continuous and discrete systems. Everything is mixed. And what is very important, that in XCOS, there is also a Modelica compiler and you are able to put what we call acausal blocks, which are blocks written in Modelica and made for physics. This XCOS is distributed with Scilab. And it's very important for all the guys making cars, making rockets, making planes, and so on. You can also make your own graphical user interface in Scilab. And from the graphical user interface, you can have access to all Scilab. You have access to the graphics and so on. And it's fully integrated in the operating system. So you are able to make an application and to make the graphic user interface and give it to another guy. We don't care about the implementation and use only the graphical user interface, which is very powerful. Every 2 years, twice a year, we have a Scilab release. The latest one is Scilab 5.5.0, which was issued in April 2014. What's new? Still, all the applied mathematics functions are in Scilab with improvements. And we did a lot of work about graphics and graphical user interface in order to improve it and to make it work more friendly. Also, something interesting, Scilab is localized in a number of languages. For instance, in French, in Spanish, in English, and other languages. And until now, it was not possible to make this localization to external module. Now it's possible, and you can now develop your own external module and have Spanish language, for instance. Scilab works everywhere, Windows, macOS, Linux, with native 32 bits and 64 bits. You only have to download it, click, and install it. It's very easy to do. Well, this is Scilab with a small puffin, which is the Scilab mascot. And this is what you get on the internet on Scilab website when you download Scilab. This is the Scilab distribution with all the functionality I described before. It's free, it's open source, and in the future, it will stay free and open source. But you can add around Scilab what we call toolboxes or external modules. These external modules can be open source or not, can be free, can be commercial. It's what you want them to be. And we have now a very powerful mechanism. We call it Atoms, module management, in order to interactively install and download external module into Scilab. When you get Scilab now, you are able, if you have internet, to download from the Scilab menu a number of external modules made by people in the world. It's very easy to do. And what is very important is that it's independent of Scilab release, so you can adapt your module when you want. It works on all architecture. You can put it Fortran, C++ code. And what we call atomization, changing the module into an Atoms module, is made by us, by Scilab Enterprise. So you don't care about compilation of code if there is such kind of code on various architecture. And if one module depends on another modules, it's easy, it downloads the other modules. So it's a very powerful way for extending Scilab and put it in the Atom system in order for everybody in the world be able to use it. Well, I presented Scilab very fast, all the main functionalities, but why would you use Scilab? First of all, it's free. So, there is no charge. but you can install it everywhere, you can deploy it everywhere, and we have a number of people in the world, about more than 1 million users in the world. So it's very important that Scilab is free software. It is very important that in this domain of numerical computation, we have a free software. But freedom is not enough. In fact, we have with Scilab software a friendly software with many functionality like the modules, the own graphics based on IPNGL. We have an X-course system comparable to Simulink from MATLAB, and it's very easy to add interactively external modules. And more than that, today, there is a very comprehensive organization taking care of Scilab. Scilab today is developed in a professional way by Scilab Enterprise, who is in charge of the complete development. And if there is a problem in the Scilab distribution, if you want help, if there is a bug, you can report this to us. And we are in charge for the support around the Scilab software. And if you need help for making application, if you need help for maintenance or so on, we are here. There is something behind the free software. And we are creating the Scilab user group with important company, as you have seen before. It's very important to know that getting a free software is very interesting, but you need to see who developed the free software, who is behind, and if it is possible, if there are problems, to see somebody and to tell him, I have a problem, try to solve my problem. It's the reason why Scilab Enterprises has been created for free software Scilab. Well, it's very difficult to show you a number of applications with Scilab. There are so many because the spectrum of Scilab is very broad. Thus, it's impossible to show you everything. But I will show you one example, not made by us. It's made by CNES in France, which is the space French agency making the satellites and the rockets. And in the CNES, they made an atoms module for space mechanics and flight dynamics. They decide to give it for free to the world, and now everybody now here can download and install it from the application menu of Scilab with internet. It's a library only of Scilab code. So all the functions, there are a number of functions, are easily reused for making new programs based upon this basis function. This example is very important because it's a professional application made by professionals of the domain that can be used by everybody in the world for making space mechanics. So you have a number of functions. You have more than 200 functions where all the knowledge of this kind of domain has been put into Scilab function. And it's very important because with the diffusion vector of Scilab, it's possible to have the application used by everybody in the world. So I show you only a very small example, which is made with Scilab. And for instance, you see France here, and you have a square, and you have two different trajectories of satellites, and you want to know how many satellites you have to put on the trajectory in order to have constant visibility. And this has been done with CelesteLab. And you see here that with the animation made by Scilab, it works. Because at every time you have a satellite. So 3 are sufficient on the left, and 4 are sufficient on the right. This is one example application which show you the power of a Scilab function behind. We show you the graphics, we show you the animation, and we can do more than that. So this is a very interesting example made by professionals of space that you can find on the internet or in the help of the example Scilab software, many other kind of this application. So for conclusion, we can say that Scilab is free software and today is a free professional software for industry, for research, for education. Everybody can download it, everybody can use it, and there is a company behind continuing to make this software free and improving it time after time. Thank you very much.